administration. And that will be detrimental. Because mind you, if you look at the data carefully, a lot of people didn't vote. A lot of people stayed out of voting. And so these are people that have lost faith in politicians. So former President Mahama has a responsibility of bringing back the love, the confidence the Ghanaian had in politicians. You understand?
Yeah.
And these are all feeding into the mood of the country. And so the issues of corruption that we have discussed, so important.
Yeah.
He has promised that he will look into the issue of the collapse of the banks. It is something that is dear to the heart of many. How did we end up spending about 25 billion when we could have saved the banks with 9 billion? That question must be answered. He's talking about COVID expenditure.
Yeah.
How did we have funders at the airport collecting money to the tune of $95 million? Then you ask the former Minister of Health, and you say he doesn't know about them. You ask the, what's the name? Transport Minister. He says he doesn't know about it. You ask the Ghana Airport Company. They say they don't. So that is a key matter that has to be dealt with. The National Cathedral, building in the name of God, $312 million have gone into the drain. We only have hope to show for. The mood you are seeing, they expect the president-elect to deal decisively with it. That is why, to be frank with you, when we are doing campaign and people begin to visit churches, I don't like it.
And with the cloth on the head.
No, I don't like it because, you see, one of the ways people are unable to act effectively is that they use the same pastors that you went to them to pay for you. To come and intercede for corrupt, it's deliberate. Corrupt officials who are members of their churches. So can you imagine that you went to, for instance, let me not even measure. Let's say the person is a church member of Usub and Best Church. You want him to pray for you. The member has stolen from the state. You want to deal with the person. The president receives a call from this man of God. I don't know whether we are men of Satan anyway. You get my point? Then the person appeals to that, Mr. President, he's my small boy. How do you balance the two? You get my point?
So what, men of God should stay away from...
They should stay away. They should allow the president to work.
Yeah, but if I'm in your church and for some reason I decide that I want to run for presidency, I'd want to come to you to pray for me.
No, the point is that we are not doing prayer business. We are doing running of a nation.
I need anointing.
If you are not, you have it, pray behind the scenes for him.
I agree with him plenty. This introduction of religion into
we have to be very careful.
And you see, we saw the flag. Hold on, Senor.
Pastors, they have construction companies.
They have gold concessions. They are
leveraging their influence.
Because we've seen the flag bearers for the two major parties visit men of God to pray for them.
That is the problem we have. That is the problem.
They all need to stop that.
They have
to stop that. If one go to your chair, go to your chair.
Look, no amount of prayer will change the person who is so hungry. You think it was somebody's prayer that changed my mind?
Show off your best skin with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion. Now with 5-in-1 Complete Care.
Today they just want to stop me before I start, so you have stopped for you.
Yes, I wanted you to wait. I want you to wait your turn.
No, there was no
Dr. Norman. No. I was going to go to Dr. Norman.
It's no problem.
Then you come in.
No problem.
Unless Dr. Norman wants you to speak.
Oh, please, I yield to her.
You are yielding to.
Senor.
This is my brother.
Bona.
We are listening, Senor.
I'm saying that there are people who have been ripping and raping this state. They go to church and they sit on the front seat. They are harvest committee chairmen.
That's it.
Some of them are church elders. I beg you in the name of God, please, this church matter should go. They are in the mosque. On Friday they go. Some of them call themselves sheikhs. And they all end up facilitating loot. So please, this religion that we are bringing into our government doesn't work. Okay. China, they are not Christians. They are better than we are.
Some are Christians.
China is majority not Christian. The Christian will be 0.something%. It can't even be 1% in China. Please, Russians don't carry their Orthodox Christians, all right, largely. It has nothing to do with governance. religion to stay away. Support them spiritually. I believe in Christ. I also support my brothers who are also Muslims. I think that the God is one. Anybody, you can use any route to get there. If that's your problem, but it will not change your attitude and your heart for this country. So bringing politics and religion too much, a lot of these big pastors, I'm telling you on authority, as a businessman, they all have companies and businesses, construction companies, road construction companies. You remember that I'm a former GHA.
Men of God have Galamsey sites.
I am telling you,
yes.
Galamsey sites.
Men of God.
But you see
that title.
When they leverage this following and the people are supporting them, politicians are afraid they'll use their puppet against them. So anything they want, they let them go. Didn't you, one of those pastors, Ben Power, whatever, wasn't he Sunday last time was telling his members how you deal and manage politicians?
Okay.
All right. Look at this kind of language.
Okay.
Jeju.
Let me just go to Dr. Ishmael Norman, and I want us to come back to the declaration, and of course, in terms of security as well, how should we manage this so that even for supporters who may be jubilating, we can control the level of jubilation so that we don't end up with any casualties, any disturbances. The same way we also have to manage, those who are also not too happy with the results. How should the state security handle this?
We are all one people, one nation. Even if you are an NDC and your neighbor is MPP and you want to jubilate, please invite him or her to the event. If you have food like we do in Salah, if you are sharing food, give him some. Because then they don't feel neglected. They feel included. Because the whole policy of President Haman is about inclusivity. So be happy for the victory. But don't insult the other party. Don't insult anyone. Because elections come in 4-year cycles. And so be careful who you offend today. Tomorrow he will be the one offending you. Let us stop all that nonsense. If we say we are Christians, we are Muslims, we believe that Ghana belongs to all of us. The victory of Mahama is victory for everyone, even if you didn't vote for him.
If you didn't vote for him, of course, we're all celebrating. But I was just asking that, in your estimation, how should the state security also manage the situation?
All right.
Yes.
I believe that the Ghana police so far had done well, except the few skirmishes that we have noticed. And even what impressed me so much about them, with the incident that happened at Wutu Senya, they grabbed the perpetrators. And each event they have grabbed the perpetrators, and they are doing well to prosecute them. They should continue to work. I know they are tired. Some of them are very tired. But they should continue to safeguard the citizenry, because it is part of their responsibility. If Ghana ever needed them to be alert, this is the moment. Until the declaration is made, until the new government is sworn in, there will be tension in this country between MPP and NDC. They should monitor stealing of government equipment and government vehicles, because it's going to happen. And they should be ready to prosecute, collect the data, collect the evidence. If the cameras on the roads are not working, they should activate them. And the police should wear the body cam, so that when they are talking with big men and women in this country, they should be recording what is happening.
Okay.
So that if there is any event, any accusation, any crime, they at least can help to collate the evidence against the perpetrator.
What advice would you give to President-elect Mahama? He officially, when sworn in, becomes the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. And so security is also, falls on his lap. When it comes to the issue of security and how to manage it in this country, what advice would you give to him when he assumes that position?
The only opportunity that he has today is to talk to the people of Ghana, thank the people of Ghana, which I know he's going to do. The government of the country is still in the hands of President Akufo-Addo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Eventually, when he's sworn in,
when he's sworn
and he becomes the Commander-in-Chief,
then I believe he will handle the security issues very carefully. Because if you don't, that means that you are not a leader. One of the things we don't do in this country is that for a very long time, we have not expanded our prison system. our criminal justice system is very poor. Some of our prosecutors are not well trained. So that the man has too much on his table. And I sometimes feel sorry for him that he has won the victory, but to deliver is going to be hard. It's going to be harder than when he was running. So one of the things you need to do, get a competent IGP.
Okay.
The one that doesn't swear to Jesus that the police force is now born again. I don't want to hear that kind of talk about secular government. We are a secular government.
He should maintain Dampare.
I haven't mentioned his name.
Oh, you're just
he
saying he should get a competent IGP. So I'm just throwing in that
IGP.
question. Should he maintain Dampare?
That would be his choice.
Okay.
But the way that Dr. Dampare had gone in the past with the current government, with the things that have happened without him taking action, by somebody small does something big, then they are after the person. But when a big man does something bigger, they do nothing. So for me, I think it's about time to change.
Okay.
And there are a lot of things that need to happen in terms of administration of the criminal justice system. The judges need to be reschooled about delivering justice, not on the basis of identity politics, but on the basis of evidence, the preponderance of the evidence. If there is...
But that's the training they are giving today.
Who is giving them the training?
That's what they all get trained at the judicial service.
No, I disagree. I'm also a lawyer.
Yeah, but that's what
I don't practice, but I know that the Judicial Council doesn't train you to become corrupt.
I'll let you hold on. I'll let you hold on, because we've just seen Madam Gina Dukwe-Mensah, the returning officer of the Electoral Commission, walk into the auditorium ready to address the crowd. And so we're going to head straight to the head office of the Electoral Commission as she officially announces the presidential results. Let's cross over now.
Good evening. You are welcome to the National Coalition Center for presidential elections. Shall we be on our feet for the national anthem? Thank you very much. Shall we have our seats? We would like to start this program with an opening prayer by Reverend Ikuya Ofori-Boateng.
Let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, you have said in your word that many are the plans of men, but it is the counsel of the Lord that will stand. We thank you, Lord, that you have spoken in our nation today. It is our prayer that as you have commanded us, that it is you that establishes leaders, that you will pour out your mercy and your grace on all of us as a nation, on our leaders. We thank you, Father, for this time where we declare what you have spoken. We ask, Lord, that your presence be with us. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of all our hearts be pleasing and acceptable to you. O Lord, you are our strength and you are our Redeemer.
I would like to acknowledge the presence of a few dignitaries. I'll start with the special representative of the Secretary General, UNOWAS, Mr. Leonardo Santos Simao. We have with us the Deputy Head of Mission, ECOWAS delegation, led by His Excellency Babukar Blaise Jani. We also have with us in the National Coalition Center, the UN Representative Coordinator, Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Charles Abani. We have delegation from ECONEC. We also have with us the USA Ambassador. Accompanying the USA Ambassador is the British High Commissioner to Ghana. Now I'm coming home. Before I come home, we have delegation from the Commonwealth. Head of delegation, thank you very much. We have a team from the Association of African Elections Authorities here with us. We also acknowledge the presence of ECONEC delegation if they are here, as well as the AU reps here. Thank you very much. Now I'll come home. With us, we have directors and deputy directors from the Electoral Commission of Ghana. Can we see you? Can we see you and we? Please. Now I go to the commission members. Here with us is Commission Member Professor Peter Apiahene. Also here at the high table, we have Commission Member Hajia Salima Sani Muhammad. The one who said the prayer is a commission member, and she is Reverend Ikia Ufori Boateng. Thank you. I'm told the EU Ambassador to Ghana is also here. And the Director of USAID is also here. I would like to introduce another commission member, Ms. Ajua Isiama Abrefa. And now I go to the executive commissioners. At the high table, we have Deputy Chair in charge of Corporate Service, Dr. Bosman Eric Asari. Deputy Chair in charge of Operations, Mr. Samuel Tete, is also here with us. And the chairperson, the returning officer, Mrs. Jean Adukwe-Mensah, is here. In addition, I would like to acknowledge some few people here. Reps of the National Peace Council, representative of domestic observer groups. I can see Mr. Ayin here, the National Coordinator of CODIO, reps of other international observers, members of both local and international press and media houses. Shall we see your hands? The local and international press houses with us. And last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge the supporting staff, members of the security services, as well as the members of the ambulance services that were able to come on short call. Thank you very much for coming. And now, the reason why we are here. I have the singular honor to cede the podium or the mic to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission and the returning officer for the presidential elections, Madame Jean Mensah.
Should I go to the podium? Let's go to the podium. A good evening to all of you, our distinguished guests. To God be all the glory. Great things he has done, and greater things he will do. We thank the good Lord for making it possible for us to witness this day. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 48 hours since the close of polls on Saturday, the 7th of December, 2024. The voters of Ghana have spoken. They have expressed their choice at the polls, and that choice will today be upheld by the Electoral Commission of Ghana. As a commission, we have fulfilled our vowed aspiration to imbibe transparency, accountability, inclusiveness, and responsiveness at the heart of all our operations. And I can confidently say that with the help of God, we have fulfilled these aspirations and the expectations of the citizenry. We have conducted elections that are credible, fair, transparent, and peaceful. Elections that have ensured that the will of the people as expressed at the polls. The elections that have guaranteed that every vote counts. As a country, we take pride in the fact that our electoral processes, initiated since 1992, uphold and guarantee the voter's choice. We take pride in the fact that the voter's choice, as expressed at the polls, is sacrosanct. Ladies and gentlemen, the last 4 years have been spent in injecting and infusing 4 key elements into every aspect of our work. And those elements are transparency, accountability, responsiveness, and inclusiveness. As such, we started the year poised and ready to conduct credible elections. We were conscious that elections were an event and not a process. This resolve led us to undertake several transformational decisions, including the re-exhibiting of the Provisional Voters Register for the first time in our history, when concerns were raised about its credibility, as well as opening up the IPAC meetings to the citizenry by allowing the live coverage of all IPAC meetings. Indeed, the decisions to re-exhibit the Provisional Voters Register to allow a further review by political parties and the citizenry, as well as the demystification of the IPAC meeting, has helped diffuse the tensions that were brewing around the Provisional Voters Register. Ultimately, those 2 decisions restored the confidence of the citizens in the Voters Register and cemented Ghana's peace. Again, in the spirit of responsiveness, when complaints were made about the 50 persons charged voters for the verification of their registration details online, the Commission waived the fee and allowed voters to verify their details at no cost. In line with our determination to ensure the credibility of the 2024 election, when the Commission received information of the leak of a single defaced ballot paper, the Commission acted swiftly and destroyed ballots for both Western and Eastern regions. This bold determination and this bold decision was based on our determination to uphold the integrity of the election at all costs. In less than 1 week, the Commission printed new ballot papers for both regions and went on to successfully hold the special voting 2 days ahead of the main election. As a Commission, our singular message to our teams at all levels has been clear. It is that our mandate is not to make anyone a president or a member of parliament, but rather to conduct and undertake credible and transparent elections and electoral processes which uphold the voter's choice and lead to acceptable and peaceful electoral outcomes. Today, our resolve has paid off. We have conducted elections that are fair, elections that are free, elections that are credible, elections that are transparent, elections that are peaceful, and elections whose outcomes are acceptable by all. So transparent are our processes that any interested political party, media house, or citizen could collate with near precision the results of the election, attesting to the resilient and robust processes built over the years. And we witnessed this with the concession of the Vice President, even before the declaration of the results by the Electoral Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, the testimonies on election day also attest to the efficient, robust, and resilient processes we put in place. Many citizens testified to the seamless processes they witnessed at the polling stations. The average time spent at the polling station was around 5 minutes compared to several hours and several minutes prior to the 2020 election. Citizens also attested to the efficiency of the biometric voter devices, the biometric verification devices employed to ensure that every man has one vote. The system worked efficiently and ensured that the voter who registered was indeed the person who voted. We are confident that the 2024 election will further cement trust in our electoral processes and reduce the suspicions that typically characterize elections on the continent. At this juncture, I would like to thank all of you who journeyed with us to ensure the success of the 2024 election. To our staff, both permanent and temporary, we say, Ayiko, you have worked hard, put in long hours, plowed the field, and done the spade work at the risk of your own lives to bring us a successful outcome. Our hearts go out to our staff who were manhandled during this time. We wish you well, and we ask the good Lord to bless all of you. To our media partners who have journeyed with us and enabled us to bring the commission to the doorstep of every Ghanaian, we say thank you. To the Ghana Police Service and to our partner, the National Peace Council, we say Ayiko. We thank all of you, the good citizens of Ghana, who have believed in us and allowed us to serve you. To our dear families and friends who have journeyed with us every step of the way, we thank you for your support, your prayers, your encouragement, and your advice. We are conscious that we could not have achieved this success without the help of the Almighty God, our anchor, without whom we could have done nothing. We remain eternally grateful, and I say thank you, Jesus. To all our observers from the ECOWAS, from the African Union, from the ECONEC, from the Commonwealth Secretariat, from the West Africa Elders Forum, supported by the Goodluck Jonathan Foundation, from the National Peace Council, from CODEO, from the Association of African Election Authorities, from the European Center for Election Systems, from International IDEA, from Manso Institute, IDEG, and to electoral commissioners from election management bodies in Africa, namely Uganda, Gambia, Kenya, Liberia. We say thank you for your support. We wish you all Godspeed back home. As the returning officer for the presidential election and in fulfillment of my mandate as enshrined in law, I will now declare the outcome of the 2024 election. It is important to note that per Regulation 63.3 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, the winner of the presidential election must obtain at least 50% plus 1 at the polls to be declared the winner of the election. We have collated the presidential results from all 16 administrative regions, of which 267 of the 276 constituencies have been captured. We have not been able to receive results from 9 constituencies because our offices have been besieged by political party supporters, making it impossible to complete the collation process. That notwithstanding, the presidential results from the 267 constituencies, including the newly created Guan constituency, clearly established the winner of the 2024 presidential election. Simply put, even if all the votes from the 9 constituencies were added to the candidate who placed second, it will not change the outcome of the election. It is important to note that the Commission will update the records on receipt of the presidential results from the 9 outstanding constituencies. Ladies and gentlemen, now to the results of the 2024 presidential election. And the results will be announced based on the positions of the presidential candidates on the ballot. Mahamadou Bawumia of the NPP obtained 4,657,304, being 41.61%. Daniel Augustus Latte Jr. of the DCPP obtained 16,673, being 0.15%. Christian Kwabena Andrews of the Ghana Union Movement obtained 16,461, being 0.15%. Kofi Apalu of the LPG obtained 5,219, being 0.09%. Mohamed Frimpong of the National Democratic Party obtained 4,413, being 0.04%. Nana Akosua Frimpong of the CPP obtained 23,397, being 0.21%. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,320, let me take that again. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,328,397. And I'd like to repeat that. Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,328,397, being 56.55%. Mr. Hassan Ayariga of the APC obtained 17,461, being 0.16%. Mr. Kofi Kranting, independent candidate, obtained 3,320, being 0.03%. Mr. George Chumberima Edu, independent candidate, obtained 3,091, being 0.02%. Nana Kwame Biediaku, independent candidate, obtained 84,478, being 0.05%. Mr. Alan Kojo Tremanting, independent candidate, obtained 31,202, being 0.28%. The total valid votes cast add up to 11,191,422. Total rejected votes 239,109. Total votes cast 11,430,531. It's important to mention that the total registered voters add up to 18,774,159. And the percentage voter turnout based on the 267 constituencies stands at 60.9%. 60.9% based on the 267 constituencies. And as I mentioned, this does not include the 9 constituencies whose results we are yet to receive. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned earlier, results from the 9 constituencies are still as outstanding. The 9 constituencies are Ewutu Senya East, in Sawam, Aduajiri, Akwetia, Suhum, Techiman South, Domi Kwabenya, Ablekuba North, Ahafo Anon North, and Damango. The total registered voters in all 9 constituencies add up to 947,116. In the event that all the valid voters from the 9 constituencies above voted for the candidate who placed second, the total number of votes he would garner would be 5,604,420, representing 46.17% of the total valid votes, which would have been 12,138,538. The inclusion of the outstanding constituencies would have given the leading candidate 52.13%, which is still greater than the 50% plus 1 required to be declared a winner. And so even with that scenario, he's clearly the winner of the 2024 election. In the light of the above, ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor as the returning officer of the 2024 presidential election to declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the winner of the 2024 presidential election and the President-elect of the Republic of Ghana with a total percentage of 56.55%. Congratulations, sir. It is finished. Thank you very much. that of Mr. Nana Kwame Bediako is 0.75%. Nana Kwame Bediako 0.75%. Thank you.
All right, and it is official. Of course, the presidential results have been officially declared by the Electoral Commission, of course, done by Madame Jean Mensah, the returning officer of the Electoral Commission. And the results are out, and so we're going to just mention them one more time for those of you who missed out on it. So at the moment, of course, it's been 48 hours since the closing of polls, and she indicated that out of the 276 constituencies, they have only been able to completely collate for 267 of these constituencies. There are 9 outstanding constituencies that cannot be mentioned tonight because there are still a few challenges that the EC is facing with that, and they're working on it. But at least for the 267 constituencies that have come out, they have been able to clearly establish the winner of the 2024 general elections. And so she goes on to announce the figures and percentage. And of course, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who's a flag bearer for the MPP, was able to get 4,657,304 of the votes, and that represents 41.6%. And Daniel Lati of the GCPP, 16,673 votes, and that represents 0.15%. Christian Andrews of GUM also got 16,461 votes, representing 0.15%. Kofi Apalu of the LPG also got 5,219, which represents 0.09%. Mohammed Frimpong from the NDP also got 4,413 votes, representing 0.04%. Nana Frimpoma Kamonkuma from the CPP, the only woman on the polls, well, she also polled 23,397 of the votes, representing 0.21%. And then the president-elect, of course, because he got the most numbers, at number 8, the NDC's flag bearer and former president John Dramani Mahama polled 6,328,397 of the votes, and that represents 56.55%. Hassan Ayariga of the APC, 17,461 votes, representing 0.16%. Kofi Cranton, an independent candidate, 3,320 votes, representing 0.03%. And then George Chum Berima, independent candidate, 3,091 votes, representing 0.02%. And Nana Kwame Bediakum, New Force, 84,478 votes, representing 0.75%. And finally, Movement for Change's flag bearer Alan Tremate was able to get 31,202 votes, representing 0.28%. And the total rejected ballots, 239,109 votes, and then the total votes, 11,430,531. And this is out of the total registered voter list of 18,774,159. So out of the 18.7 million Ghanaians who registered to vote in the 2024 general elections, 11,430,531 of them actually went to the polls and cast their votes. And out of those votes, 239,109 of them were rejected ballots. More than the independent candidates, any of them, and more than the smaller parties as well. And percentage voter turnout was 60.9%. Just a reminder that this is a compilation of 267 constituencies, because there are still some 9 constituencies that are still outstanding. So as it stands now, President-elect of the DC, and he polls 6,328,397, representing 56.55%. And that is the official announcement that came from the returning officer of the Electoral Commission a few moments ago, declaring NDC's John Dramani Mahama as the president-elect. And you can see on your screens at the moment jubilation from his office at cantonments, where NDC supporters and executives have also gathered, and we're told that he's going to address the public right after the declaration of the results. And so we expect him to speak any moment from now. But in the meantime, supporters of the NDC are jubilating, understandably so, especially because, as said yesterday, per the concession speech that was given by the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the results showed clearly for both presidential and parliamentary that the NDC had won the 2024 general elections, and both parties actually had the results as well. And so the NDC was very much aware of it. They were only waiting for the results to be officially declared. And so with 56.55%, well, President-elect John Dramani Mahama reassumes office as President of the Republic of Ghana. And of course, there'll be a lot of celebrations, not only at his office in cantonments, but all across the country for the 6,328,397 people who voted for him as president. And so that's what you're seeing there, all of them clad in white, a number of them, a few of them actually wearing party colors, but they are celebrating. And on your screen right now, we have the National Youth Organizer for the NDC. Well, he's just gone down, but of course, we just saw him a few minutes ago, and other party executives and communication officers as well, jubilating, celebrating, expected, and we believe that it will go the wee hours of the night. But congratulations to the president-elect, John Dramani Mahama. And yes, that is how the 2024 general elections will end, of course, with some jubilation at his office. And so you see them, of course, a number of them dancing, singing, waving some party paraphernalia as well. And I'm sure in the next couple of minutes, he will be speaking. And so congratulations again to him, and I guess to the Ghanaians as well who voted for him. You'd hear a lot of people say that this was a vote between Ghana and the NPP. And that's what a number of people have said. But at least for the NDC, they'll tell you that this was probably between them and the NPP, and they were able to pull the greatest numbers as well. So we're seeing those live pictures right now. They're coming from the office of the president-elect of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. And remember that he served 4 terms as president before he was voted out in 2016. Of course, getting replaced by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He tried again in the year 2020, hoping that he could resume office, but unfortunately, he was not able to secure that seat. But this time around, overwhelmingly, he has secured the presidency with 56.55%. And of course, Ghanaians came out in their numbers. It's quite interesting to know, however, that the total rejected votes are actually more than the figures that any of the independent candidates or any of the smaller parties actually got. The closest that any of the other candidates, apart from the NPP and NDC, got would be Nana Kwame Bediako, who came in as an independent candidate, of course, representing the new force. He polled 84,478 of the votes. That is even far from the total rejected votes. And so the third force for the 2024 general elections is actually the rejected ballots, which is quite troubling, especially because a lot of calls had been made for voter education ahead of the 2024 general elections. And as you can clearly see, maybe for some reason, this education didn't go down too well. We barely saw the NCCE, go around. Of course, we know that they did their very best. We understand that they also have some financial constraints as well. But clearly, that education did not go down as expected, because if that's the case, we wouldn't have had these high numbers, 239,109 of the votes being rejected. So that is actually the real third force. Michael,
yeah, so
finally, results have been declared.
But just a quick one on the issue of the spoiled ballot. It's quite interesting that if you add all the numbers from the other smaller parties, they don't even give you the 200,000, which is quite concerning. I think also Alan's performance, I don't know what to make of it. I was expecting a little more. I'm not sure what really affected him in this particular race, because if you look at the number of people who turned out for him, especially at his rallies, I was expecting quite a good run for the NPP's money, especially in the Ashanti region. But he just managed to put a few 10,000 there, and that's quite interesting. It just shows you that, well, the voters have made their choice. And of course, if you look at the results across, if you take a look at the map, Ghana has never been this green. It just shows you the number of the hope and the trust that the Ghanaian public have vested in John Dramani Mahama. It should tell you also that the expectations are huge, high, and he has a lot to do. But if you look also at his 120-day plan, I'm sure if he's able to implement a significant number of them, he may be able to at least get the buy-in of the general public, or at least calm tempers a bit, because the expectations are really high, and especially if you look at where we've come from as a country over the last 8 years, from the economic indicators to the IMF bailout program and the likes. Everybody is looking for answers, and they are hoping that John Mahama would be able to deliver that, turn things around. I don't know what the magic he has behind his back, but we are hoping that he would be able to deliver to expectation, because this also sends a loud sound and signal to the political elites that if 2028 the NDC fails, you cannot be too sure what to expect from the electorate. So the standards have been set, it's been raised, and you can't under-deliver. You can't take the Ghanaian public for granted, because you will pay heavily at the polls. Absolutely, and like Dr. Ishmael Norman said, in order for accountability to also happen, he needs to hold a press conference every week in the first 120 days, just to keep updating Ghanaians on what he's been able to do so far, progress so far, because that is also going to, you know, engender some trust in the public. And so if he really is serious about achieving all those things that he has listed in his first 120 days, plan, then he needs to remember that Ghanaians will be watching keenly and they'll be interested in his progress after every week. And so maybe that would be a good idea for him. I'm not sure what his plan is. I'm not sure what his team's plan is. But he has also said that within the first 14 days, he's also going to appoint his cabinet and he's going to make sure that, you know, he has the leanest government. He has said that he's going to have only 60 ministers. Let's hope that he's able to achieve that. Because again, you go back to the 2020 elections, we were told that there was going to be, you know, a smaller government, and then before we realized, we were going over 100 ministers. And when we asked, and when many people complained, well, the president did indicate at the time that he was going to review the number depending on how well they had performed. But we still didn't get that. So everybody described that as the elephant-sized government, because he still wasn't budging when Ghanaians were complaining that you criticized John Dramani Mahama for having too many ministers, and yet you came into power and you even exceeded his number. Exactly. You know? And it had to take him a re-election. 2020, that is when he re-looked at the number of ministers that he had. And that was the first time that we even had a reshuffle in his government. And so I believe and I hope that President-elect John Dramani Mahama has also taken a key look at some of these mistakes that have been committed by the NPP government, and he will run a listening government so that the same 6 million and over people who voted for him, plus the rest of the Ghanaians, because he's not only going to be president to only 6 million people, he has over 32 million Ghanaians that he's going to govern. He has to make sure that he listens to their concerns, their sentiments, and acts appropriately. Because we have shown as voters that once you decide not to make yourself accountable to Ghanaians, once you refuse to listen to the concerns of Ghanaians, we may not come out as much to protest. We may speak up on social media, on TV, traditional media, but the power really lies in the thumb. And when that moment comes, that is when we will show you power, like Ghanaians say. And so if he wants, especially because he has only 4 years to go, and then the NDC will now have to field a new candidate to represent the party and hopefully win the 2028 general elections, he has to be a listening president. He has to make sure he's doing the
right thing. When it's issues of corruption, he needs to act.
Exactly. And that's part of the reason why I'm excited about some of the indicators he's put out to achieve within the first 120 days of being in power. And especially the part where he emphasizes on stakeholder engagement and some consensus building, especially with the economic issues and the likes. We're hoping that, as he has indicated, he will stick to it and make sure it happens. He also promised to scrap e-levy and a couple of other taxes.
COVID levy, exactly. And tax.
So it'll be keen to see whether he's able to do it, because you do know that we are under an IMF program. And he needs to be able to explain to us that he would be able to pull that off, and what their plan is to replace those funds.
Yeah, indeed. But, well, our time is up. We have to leave, but of course, Beatrice is here as well.
Yeah.
But we're handing over to another capable team to take you through the post-conversation after the announcement. And Alfredo Kante is here, Martin Asiedu-Date, and Kemini Amano. They are seated and ready, smiling. I believe that the smile is because finally the results have been declared. So I guess that also calms tempers, and everybody knows that at the end of this, we can all get some sleep and everything goes on.
Well, partially, yes, because we still have a few parliamentary results for some constituencies yet to be announced. So we're waiting for those, about 3 of them so far. The Electoral Commission talks about 9, 3 for the Greater Accra region, 9 in total. That should tell you that they're keeping tabs on some of the issues playing out right now. But it was quite clear that even if all those 9 constituencies results are put together, it will not make any significant difference for the second person who came right after John Dramani Mahama. That's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Yeah.
And so really, I recall yesterday, Bella, Professor Ransford Jampo recommended to the Electoral Commission that, yes, you have a procedure and the process you go through in announcing presidential results. But looking at the tension and the anxiety that the long wait has created, you would have to be creative to ensure that even if you have a procedure, go around it and get the results out so that people right now really can get off their tenterhooks and go and have some fun. Exactly. You're still live here on your Election Command Center. This is Ghana Decides. Right now, the die is cast. History has been made. The Electoral Commission has confirmed, and the team is back for the post-election night coverage here on your Election Command Center. We're going to cross over to Tamale right now and our satellite studios there at Kokiti, and Christopher Amwako. They are connecting with us right now from the northern part of the country right now. Let's connect with them. And Chris and Cookie, good evening. And I can see a lot of jubilation behind you. Let's talk to them.